What an extraordinary morning, Spicky. Mornings, except we've only had a couple of overs.
Welcome back to Beyond the Boundary podcast. Today we are joined by Rachael Thomas, who is our Director of Women's Cricket. Welcome, Rachael.
Thank you very much.
So, just to start off, tell us a wee bit about yourself. When did you start playing cricket, and have you always been at civil service?
Absolutely. So I suppose I was fairly late in the sport, so I only started playing after I left school when I turned 18. I started playing a little bit here, but then moved over to study in Scotland in Edinburgh. So played a lot over there for the 4 years. Played sort of bucks indoor, which was great fun, bucks outdoor. Played for a local club over there for a bit, but then came back in summers and played a lot for civil service. So been at civil service the entire time, and I kind of was one of those hockey players who came over, had okay hand-eye coordination, but terrible technique, which is probably the same now. But it was one of the girls from the hockey club up here. She was the captain of the cricket team at the time, so she sort of encouraged me to come along. I'm very glad I did.
Okay, very good. And then, so since those early days to now, you've been involved in a lot of representative cricket. So you have played for a number of years NCU Senior Women. You were involved in the Super Series a bit last year. And then most recently, you actually got a bit of coaching recognition and you went to Desert Springs as an NCU coach. So over those different experiences, can you just give us a wee bit of insight into what that was like for you?
Absolutely. So I suppose starting on the playing side of things, so I've been involved with the senior women, the NCU Senior Women, for a few years now, sort of since I graduated and came home during the pandemic. So that's been really good. Obviously, always good to get more match play and more training as well. And it's nice to be able to play with girls who we often are kind of playing against a lot of the time. So it's nice to be in a slightly different environment with different players and playing against different people as well. And then on the coaching side of things, very much kind of been a bit more involved in that in recent years. So currently the lead coach for the girls under 13 NCU side, but was sort of delighted to be asked to go out to Desert Springs in February there with the an NCU Northwest under 19s or emerging Dragons side. So that was fantastic to kind of get out there. It was absolutely freezing, but it was nice to be out there kind of in that setup, coaching some girls, some that I knew, some that I didn't know. But I was just so impressed with the talent out there. And it was great that we're in a position now where we can offer sort of a 10-day training camp to some of our younger players. So delighted to be involved in all of that, and very much looking forward to sort of seeing those players develop and hopefully end up playing against and with some of them in the coming years.
Yeah, class. And then, so you've been on probably quite a number of NCU tours in your well-developed career now.
Well,
but recently you went to Jersey. That was the most recent tour. So can you just give us an insight into what that is like going on tour with like a Interpro type side?
Absolutely. So I've actually only been on one senior women's tour.
Oh,
yeah, so Jersey's been my only tour. But it was a really, really good time. So that was last July, I think, July 2022. And that was, fantastic. The first of those kind of trips for me. A really good chance, again, to play girls that we don't know that well, that we haven't sort of faced week in, week out. And that's always nice. And Jersey are a very competitive side. They're a good fun side to play. But certainly we had to kind of raise our game out there with them. So it was great we could come away with a series win there. But again, it was just nice to play with the girls in the NCU that we wouldn't normally play with, get to know them a bit better. And obviously the social side is good. And Jersey was just a lovely place. So really good tour, and hopefully lots more of that to come in the future as well.
Yeah, and so you've taken on a new role this year, which has been created, which is Director of Women's Cricket. So you stepped down from first 11 captain. You're going to be vice captain to keep Jess and straight and narrow. But this is a brand new role. So just for us, what does it entail?
Yep.
And what are you going to be doing?
Absolutely. So this is a new role this year, and something that we feel that there is a need for. So in recent years, there's been a few key individuals within the club who have been doing a lot, and what we've really wanted to do is sort of spread the load. So part of my role within the sort of head women's cricket director is that I've set up this senior leadership team. So what that has allowed us to do is sort of spread the load, as I said, and free the coaches up, for example, to do a bit more on the coaching side of things, and allow people in captaincy roles to really focus on the sort of on-field performance side of things. So we're delighted to kind of have now first 11 and second 11 team managers. who will be supporting on sort of communication with the opposition. But really what my role is to support the people within that senior leadership team, help them out where that's needed, and kind of just be there as a point of contact for them. Outside of that, then I do a bit of work around sort of recruitment drives, getting more girls playing both at the senior level, the junior level, thinking around sort of strategic direction of the women's club, looking at growth and development plans, and really how we can just continue the fantastic progress that we have been making in recent years. So really interesting role. I'm very passionate about women's cricket, so to be able to sort of have that role where I can support the growth and development of the women's game has certainly been really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, and then in terms of the on-field stuff, so as director of women's cricket, it sounds so like posh.
Too grand.
I know, grand. What are your sort of goals and expectations of the girls, on the pitch this year?
Absolutely. So I think my focus, I suppose, is shifting from the on-field to slightly more of the off-field, and I'll maybe talk about that a little bit more later on. But I think all I'll say is that we want to continue to be a really strong side. A really strong competitive side. We want to be sort of leading the way for the for cricket in the NCU. But something that we really pride ourselves on is our strength in ourselves as a unit, and our strength in our ability to play as a team. So I think that sort of culture, that environment that we have, the way we play as a team, and kind of the individuals that we have involved and how they all come together in a really nice way is certainly something I'd like to see continuing, because there's no doubt that that's where I believe that a lot of our success has come is in our ability to play as a team. So just ensuring that we're continuing to cultivate an environment where people feel included and people feel valued, and that people want to be a part of as well.
Yeah, and then so like on the pitch, we always look to try and win every game. Like everyone, you don't play cricket to lose.
Absolutely.
So we've been pretty successful with cup and league wins last year. So is that the goal this year again?
Yes, of course. So we do want to retain the silverware, that we have had in the last 2 years. So that'll be the the Challenge Cup, the league trophies, and the Challenge Plate as well. So we do want to continue performing at that first 11 and second 11 level. And of course, something that we're really proud of is getting to the All Ireland final last year, All Ireland T20. And of course, that's something that we're striving for again, and striving to get even closer than we did last year. I think we all agree that was the game where we learned the most, and the game where we had to actually go in and raise our game and play to the best of our ability. So we'd certainly love another go at that, another chance to learn from fantastically strong opposition as well. Yeah,
that's great. And then, so in terms of like that development, so we have a lot of really good girls cricketers, from female cricketers within the club, that are allowed the opportunity to play men's cricket as well.
Yeah.
You've done that yourself, as
Absolutely.
well as plenty others. So from that perspective, do you see a lot of difference between the men's game and the women's game in the NCU?
I think, as you've said, I've played a number of games in sort of the last 2 or 3 years now across our men's 3s, 4s, 5s midweek, and that has all really been a fantastic opportunity, A, to just get more match play, but B, to be in a slightly different environment. So we are still at the place where we don't have necessarily girls who've been playing since they were, no age, but actually being able to play in an environment where I'm playing with boys and with men who just have a really good sort of knowledge and have been about the game for a long time. Certainly that's where we want to go, and I think where we're getting to in the women's game. But to be in that environment is great, and you can learn a lot from that. And I think having the chance again to just face different bowlers that we wouldn't, face week in, week out, see how different people bat, how teams sort of respond and set fields to that, learn from the other players on the team and sort of the captains there as well, has been fantastic. So it's definitely something I think we're looking to encourage more of our girls getting involved with that. Certainly lots to learn.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then, so do you think it's been beneficial to you in your game in terms of your development then, playing more men's cricket?
Absolutely, yeah. Time out in the middle is always useful, but even just time out in the field and getting to play those slightly longer formats as well. So as we look to increase the length of the formats that we're playing in the women's game, having a bit of experience in 30, 35 over cricket is always good to have.
What would your word of advice be to those girls who are sitting at home, their parents maybe watching this, or even a message to the parents to sort of say, like, bring your kids to civil service? Yeah, absolutely.
I think I would say, just get involved. I only started playing when I was 18, and I wish I had started playing when I was way younger than that. But there's so much opportunity out there now, and as I've said earlier, we're very much investing in the junior girls side of things. We see that as an area of huge importance. So we're investing in the coaching and in the structure side of things. So I would say just come along and give it a go. I think, as cringy as it sounds, in the 5 or 6 years that I've been playing, I've made a lot of friends, had a lot of fun, and got a lot of opportunities as well. There's opportunities to travel with cricket, whether that's coaching, playing, a whole host of different things. So I suppose I would say just get involved, get in touch. Would love to have any players, new, experienced, old, young, everyone's kind of welcome to get involved.
Yeah, and where can we contact the
Absolutely.
women?
So probably best to contact us through our Instagram account, which we have been working on the last few years. So that is at CSNICC_women's.
Okay.
I think we'll maybe link it in the
we'll
caption.
stick a wee link in.
Or you can email us at womenscricket@csnicc.com.
Okay, cool.
I think, but check the caption.
We'll pick it up on the screen for you.
Yeah. So please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from anyone and everyone.
Yeah, 100%. Rachel, it's been superb to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Be sure to tune in on the next episode of Beyond the Boundary.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Beyond the Boundary. In our next episode, Ross will be chatting with our new women's first 11 captain, Jess Mays. Originally from South Africa, she tells us how she first got into cricket and what brought her to Belfast. A really interesting cricket journey to date. We look forward to seeing you then. Fancy having a go at cricket? Then why not join us for a fantastic summer at Stormont? Whether you're new to cricket or someone who is just looking to play again, we would love to hear from you. Players of all abilities are very welcome. At CSNI, everyone can play. We would also like to thank today's sponsor for their invaluable support of our club. Without their very kind donation, much of what we do at Stormont would not be possible. We would also ask all members to support them where you can as a sign of our appreciation.